Hey guys, just wanted to start off this video and say thank you for 1,000 subscribers. We were able to do that in just a few short months, so that's awesome to see. As promised, wearing the new microphone, when picked up the DJI Mic Mini 2-pack. I think that they sound pretty good. I've only gotten really a few sound clips of it, just wearing them. Haven't really got anything with the car just yet, but looking forward to doing that. So yeah, once again, huge thank you to you guys for that. As far as today's video, we're gonna be installing S58 injectors supplied by Extreme DI or XDI. I'll leave timestamps down below on if you need to skip through to just do certain parts of it. So kind of just hopping right into it. This is the injector puller from Extreme DI. Really nicely made. You can pick this up on their website as well as these OEM S58 injectors. They actually have a lot of different fueling upgrades for a bunch of different platforms. I saw Volkswagen, Audi. They make a lot of GM stuff for the LT, some of the Coyote stuff. They really kind of do it all. So this is what those S58 injectors look like. These are the OEM ones. These are a 30% fueling upgrade for the Gen 2 B58 guys. They also have a 65% option on the website, but we have 6 of these. First step, disconnect your battery. Next step, let's get access to the actual injectors. I'm gonna remove my catch can lines just to gain access. Name of the game is to stay clean here. Once I remove all of these coil pack connectors and unplug all the injectors, removing the grounds and stuff, I'm gonna move this harness out of the way and vacuum up through here, blow out some of the debris, just to make sure that we're staying clean through this process. We will be exposing into the combustion chamber with the injectors and into the camshaft lobes with the high pressure fuel pump. So I wanna make sure that we're staying clean on that. Gonna get these O2 sensor connectors out of the way. So then you wanna get this out of the way. Just make more room for it. Oh, and I just broke the tab off of that somehow. Perfect. Just lovely. So now that this is out of the way, kind of put it down here, just so we can gain access to that fuel rail right here. Now I'm gonna unplug all of these coil pack connectors and then get all the injectors unplugged so I can move this harness out of the way. Just as a little trick here I like to do for these, these can sometimes get stuck or the seals in there and they can feel impossible to take off. If you pop out this top piece, the locking connector, pop that out first, push towards the connector, press down on the white piece, and then just wiggle a wide flathead in there. They'll pop right out. I've never broken a connector doing this. I've seen people stick picks in there and break it. I've never broken a connector doing this. That's the best way I found to do it without killing your fingers. Next thing we're gonna wanna do is remove this nut right here and this nut right here. They're both 8mm. As you can see, that frees up this side of the harness enough so we can get the injectors unplugged here. And same process for these. There's a locking slider here. Pop that up first. You'll hear the click. You press down onto the injector, press in on the connector locking piece, and then you pull straight up. There's that one. We'll go through and do all 6 of those. And for the last one, move all of this out of the way. Fit your hand back there. Might help if you have smaller hands than I do. There you go. Move this whole harness out of the way. And next step we're gonna be doing is cleaning up around the rail. You just wanna clean up the stuff down here. As you can see, there's like leaves and stuff where we're gonna be pulling these injectors out. All that crud down there. Don't really feel comfortable pulling everything out. Look, another leaf. Clean up around here. Just take your time so when you're pulling it out, it's not gonna drop anything in there and you're not gonna have any issues. I'm just gonna use a vacuum and some compressed air. And we're almost to the fun stuff. I'm actually gonna remove these 2 coil packs and that coil pack in order to get a rag underneath there easier. Okay, we're removing all the coil packs. Little B58 coil pack. ASMR. Now that all of those are removed, I'm just gonna put some painter's tape over the plug holes just because I don't want anything to fall down in there. It's probably overkill, but rather be safe than sorry and have to fish something out of there. So now that that's all masked off, like I said, take some rags, put it underneath each of these connectors. It will spit out fuel. And take your 17 wrench. It's always sort of nerve-wracking. Wear eye protection when you're doing this, just in case the fuel squirts. Just gonna crack this one, just very slowly. So now whichever one we pull off is gonna dump the most fuel. And make sure to get everything clean around it. Get all the excess fuel cleaned up. Front one didn't really have much. This one had a bunch. And this one probably had the most. Also wanted to mention that there is a connector on the front of this fuel rail. Do not forget to take that one off. So now we're gonna be removing these E-Torx bits. They're E6s. There's 2 for each injector. So this is one injector, one injector, one injector, so on and so forth. Make sure to go back and forth when removing these so you don't damage the injector. We're gonna start at the front, obviously, and just make our way back, but just go back and forth. Quarter turns is probably a little overkill, but I'm gonna do it just because. And then once all of those are removed, you're gonna be moving on to your E8 and getting this fuel rail off. So we're gonna just evenly removing all of these. And then you're just gonna pull up on the fuel rail. And you might have a little bit that comes out. And same process for the back ones. Evenly remove all 4 of the E8 bolts. Set them off to the side. And pull off the fuel rail. So in your kit from XDI for the injector puller kit, you will receive this spacer, which we will use to reinstall the injectors. It will come in with both of these pieces. So how these work is this comes apart here. I'll show you here in a second, but you're gonna put this on the injector, rotate 90 degrees to lock it in. Then you'll slide this through here and thread it onto here, effectively creating a slide hammer in which you'll pull up on the injectors in order to get them out. So once you've gotten this far, you are good to remove these little seals right here. You will not be reusing those. And in order to put this on, you're gonna want this piece going towards the back of the car when you put on the injectors, and then you're gonna rotate it to the left 90 degrees. So it'll be facing towards the passenger side of the car. Put it on there. And you'll see that pin slide down, and that's how you know it's locked. It's now not able to come off. We'll then thread this in there. Put the larger end down. Put the cap on there. And slide up. And then the injector pulls right out of there. That's how simple it is. Going to repeat the same process for all of the following injectors. So I got all of the old injectors out. You can see they're relatively dirty on the tips there. They're all kind of even though, which is good, I guess. Evenly dirty. So now it's actually time to unbox these, unwrap them all, and get them installed on the fuel rail so we can get them thrown back in the car. So continuing on here, we're going to be reinstalling the new injectors now. So obviously 3 for each rail. Take them out one by one. And you'll need to transfer over the... So this is from the old injector. You're going to want to take this off the top. Just rotate it 90 degrees and take it off the top, and you got to reinstall this on the new one. And these bolts that the E6s that hold the injector in are actually torque to yield, so you'll need to replace those. But basically, let's get us started. Just get them started by hand. And then what we'll be doing is, this is the last piece of this injector kit. It actually goes right there. We'll be putting this in here. And then this is the spacer that determines, so it would just go hand tight, back and forth until it's snugged down. Just to give a little better of an idea. The spacer's point is to make sure that these are flush. So it's going in flush with it. So you'll just hand tighten these back and forth until this is flush on there, and make sure that the thread count is even on both sides. And you'll do that for all 6. And then I'll go and double check all of the thread counts in between. So as you can see across all 3 of these, each thread count is the same. And you can kind of just tell based off the little nub sticking out of here that they're all even. So next step is I'm going to be doing the same for this fuel rail with the other 3 injectors, and then going back over to the car. And before installing the injector rails again, you're going to want to lubricate this little black ring right here with a little bit of oil. You do not need a lot at all. Just get a little bit on your fingers and run it along the black seal. Do not get it in the holes. Be very careful not to do that. So just lubricate the ring, and then after that, you'll be ready to install the rail again. And once you've lubed those up, you'll be good to drop the fuel rail back in. Just go as straight as possible. Line up all the holes here. See, that one needs to go over a little bit. And same for the rear. And make sure that it's flat across. These should be level at this point in time. It should be level on there. Make sure that they're fully seated. I actually had to go out and buy a 1/4 inch torque wrench. I did not have one. And my torque wrench that I do have, my digital one, only goes down to a minimum of 5. So we need 2 Newton meters. So we got an inch-pound with one. 2 Newton meters is about 17 inch-pounds. If you set it to 20, you'll be fine. So I think the lowest on this one's 20 inch-pounds. So that's what I'm going to set it to. So for the first step of this torquing sequence, you're going to, you have to use new bolts for these, but going to put them in the top two or the one closest to the driver's side. And you'll just thread these in by hand until they start to snug up. You're just doing these two back and forth 90-degree increments. So you start on the right, go to the bottom position, right bottom position, however you want to do it, but no more than 90-degree increments between the two of them, alternating back and forth. Okay, so that's clicking. Okay, so that's 2 Newton meters. And then what you're gonna do is put in the bottom two, those two right there, and you're gonna tighten these to 5 Newton meters. So now I have it set to 5 Newton meters or 45 inch-pounds. And I'm gonna be doing the top right, bottom left, then top left, bottom right in 5 Newton meters in 90-degree increments. Double check them all. And repeat the same for the rear. The same steps. Repeat it to the rear before we start on the next one. Just to give a little comparison, you can see the actual height difference in the fuel rails. This one's sticking up quite a bit past. I haven't started tightening this one down yet, but you can definitely see the height difference between the two. All right, so now once all of your E8s are torqued down to 5 Newton meters, you're gonna take your E6 again, and we're gonna be going alternating back and forth 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 at the 90 degrees at 5 Newton meters. So once we hit 5 Newton meters, we're gonna move on to the next set, but 1, 2, just alternating back and forth 90 degrees each time. And then we'll do that for each set here, and then we'll move on. And repeat that for the other 5. Once you've torqued all of these down to 5 Newton meters, alternating back and forth 90 degrees each time, we're going to turn each one of these after they're already at 5 Newton meters, a total of 90 degrees. So if we start here, we're gonna end up there for each one of these bolts. Just go down the line, do them exactly like that. Then you're gonna switch back to your E8 and you're actually gonna crack all 1, 2, 3, 4 loose, just loosen them up, and we're gonna retorque them. Loose, 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 loose. Set your torque wrench to 5 Newton meters. And we're gonna be doing A, D, B, C, and then we're gonna go in order, turning it 90 degrees. And then same for the rear. If that's the only thing you're doing, you're gonna reverse the steps that we've already done, just do them in a reverse order. In my case, I'm actually gonna be doing this fuel pump right here. I'm actually gonna be ending this video here. I'm gonna be splitting this into 2 parts now. The second part will be the high pressure fuel pump installation with the DS25. If you guys are curious on where you guys can find this stuff, the S58 injectors and the Dorch high pressure fuel pump, put them in the description below. If you guys need anything from XDI, hit them up on Instagram, email them. They're super responsive. Big shout out to Mike once again. He's super helpful in the process of getting the injectors, answering all my questions that I had. They are genuine S58 Bosch injectors. He just happens to have them at such a good price and really unbeatable price. I think right now even they're $400 or $500 cheaper than some of the other competitors. So don't miss out on an opportunity to get those for much cheaper. This fuel system that I just put in is capable of well over 700. So you'll be maxing out the transmission with just that. Once I upgrade the transmission, I've got a bunch of questions asking why I did not go port injection. Port injection is in the future. This will be maxing out the transmission as it is. There's no reason to put port on it now. It'd just be a waste. I'm already risking the transmission at this power level, anything above like 700. So once the transmission gets its upgrades, then I'll throw on port, throw on the low pressure fuel pump, and we'll continue the process after that. Push it up to 8, I don't know, maybe 900. We'll see. But as of right now, DI only, it'll be over 700 on an E-blend. So gonna get this tuning process started again, start getting some more prep done for TX2K. I have a bunch of fluids on the way, more than I even talked about in the last video. I bit the bullet, just got everything I needed. I'm doing a transmission flush, front differential, rear differential, brakes, brake fluid, oil change. Probably do a coolant flush as well, just why not? So a lot more prep for TX2K. We are less than a month away. I will be going down Thursday through Sunday. If you guys want to meet up, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. Other than that, I think that's all I got for you guys this week. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. And then we're going to be installing this mounting bracket. This one, and then this one, and then this one. You cannot do them all at the same time. It's kind of confusing, but uh-oh.